Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture series on analog electronics. This lecture series is a part of Let's Crack the Gate initiative by TechUp faculties. Today we will see some more transistor configurations. In the last lecture we have already seen common base configuration. I will shine some more light onto that topic. So this was our common base configuration. This is our transistor in its base, emitter and collector. Let's say we have already given the appropriate supplies for this transistor. This is PNP. So we know that here we have given VEE and here we have given VCC. In this case, we know that there is a current flow from emitter to collector. There is a huge current flow here because of the majority charge carriers, which are holes, right? Out of this, some current flows through base. This is a very small amount and it flows through base. So this is IE, this is IC and this is IB. Today we will see what are the current components in an NPN transistor. Okay, so the first thing is, we know that the major part of IE is due to holes, right? But there are also electrons in IE, so there will be an electron current here also. So if we call this current, which is due to holes, IEP, and the current due to electrons IEN, then the total current IE will be equal to IEP plus IEN, hole current plus electron current, right? Now in this junction, base emitter junction, we know that some recombination occurs, and because of that recombination, there will be a recombination current. Let's call it I recomb. And due to the minority charge carriers, if we open emitter and base, there will be a current in collector, which is called the leakage current, ICO. This you know, ICO, right? In this case, this IEP is very much larger than IEN. That means IE is mostly the hole current. Now if we assume that our base emitter junction is open circuited, in that case, write it here, base emitter open circuited. In that case, we know that there is a current flowing in collector due to the reverse biased collector base junction, right? And that current was called ICO, which is collector current when emitter base junction is reverse biased, right? This collector current ICO, it is also called the leakage current. Okay, so when there is proper emitter base voltage, we know that our IC, collector current IC, is equal to the hole current ICP plus ICO, which is the leakage current. Again, ICO is due to minority charge carriers, so the amplitude of ICO is very, very less. Remember that. Now, if we look at IB, IB will be equal to IEN, which is the electron current in emitter, plus I recombination, that is the recombination current in base, minus the current due to minority charge carriers, that is ICO. This is the base current, total base current. Then there is another term called emitter injection efficiency. Now, emitter injection efficiency is the ratio of the current reaching base from emitter, that is the current crossing base emitter junction from the emitter to the current that is reaching the emitter base junction. So, this efficiency gamma is IEP, which is the current that has crossed the base emitter junction to the current that is arriving, which is IEP plus IEN. Gamma is IEP divided by IEP plus IEN. So, we know that IEP plus IEN is the the total emitter current IE. So, this is IEP divided by IE. Okay. Now, there is another term that is called transport factor, and it is denoted by alpha t. Now, alpha t is also a ratio, and it is given by ICP divided by IEP. So, this is a measure of how efficiently carriers are transported from emitter to collector. Okay. Then we know that the current IE, which is flowing at the forward biased emitter base junction, it will have a characteristic similar to that of a diode. So, IE can be written as some saturation current IES into e to the power VBE divided by eta Vt. Also we know that I is equal to IB plus IC. These are some current relationships in PNP transistor in common base configuration. These relations will hold in other configurations also. Now we saw the different characteristics in common base configuration. The input characteristics was between IE and VBE, and the output characteristics was between IC and VCB. IC and VCB. The input characteristics looked like this. This was for VCB equal to 0, VCB equal to a higher voltage, let's say 10 volt, and VCB equal to again another higher voltage, let's say 20 volt. Okay. So, in the last lecture, I had told you that this as VCB increases, that is the reverse bias voltage at base collector junction increases, the current IE increases. The reason I told you was that it is because of early effect. But that's not exactly true. Early effect actually affects the collector current. So we cannot apply early effect here, but the reasons are almost similar. The emitter current IE is mostly due to diffusion current. And this diffusion current is proportional to, and hence IE is proportional to, the gradient of concentration in p-type material, and this x is the width. So as width decreases, this term IE will increase, and the decrease in width is due to increase in reverse bias VCB. As VCB increases, the effective width of base decreases. Okay. Now in output characteristics, we know that when IE is equal to 0, IC will be equal to 0. So this is the characteristics for I equal to 0, whatever be the value of VCB. Now, if we set IE at a different level, the value of IE will also increase, IC will also increase. So this is for IE equal to a higher level. Let's call it IE1. So IE1 is greater than 0. Again, if we increase IE, we will get another characteristics like this. And for different IEs, we will get different characteristics. This characteristics is divided into the active, cutoff, and saturation. For active region, for the BJT to be in active region, the emitter base junction JBE must be forward biased, and collector base junction JCB must be reverse biased. For cutoff region, both the junctions are reverse biased. And for saturation, both the junctions are forward biased. Junctions forward biased. So these are the things to be noted when we want to operate our transistor in a particular region of operation. Then there is early effect. Early effect says that as we increase the reverse bias voltage of collector base junction, the effective width of base decreases. Right? As effective base width decreases, the recombination current in base decreases, so IB decreases. If IB decreases, we have kept IE as a constant, so IC increases. At the same time, alpha also increases. Alpha is the current gain, IC by IE. The value of this alpha in case of AC signals is called alpha AC, and it can be written as delta IC divided by delta IE. And in case of DC voltage, it can be written as alpha DC equal to IC by IE. This can be written as ICP divided by IE, because the major portion of IC is ICP only. And now this can be written as ICP divided by IEP into IEP divided by IE. Now we know these values. ICP divided by IEP is alpha T, and IEP divided by IE is gamma. So alpha is given by, or alpha DC is given by alpha T into gamma. Okay. If we want to determine the proper biasing of common base configuration in active region, because active region is the region where amplification occurs. So for that, we can assume that IC is approximately equal to IE, and IB is equal to 0 microampere. Now if we make this assumption, the circuit becomes like this. Here we have an open circuit because IB is 0, and the current flow will be like this. Here we have IE, and here we have IC, which is approximately equal to IE. By using this relation, we can determine the biasing of this particular configuration, thus the common base configuration. Now we can move on to the amplifying action of a transistor. How a transistor is operating as an amplifier. So for that, we'll make use of this diagram. Here we have the common base configuration of PNP transistor. There is an input here, and we'll assume that this is properly biased. So we are only going to do the AC analysis. And here we have a resistance. So we get the output. Okay. When we look at the transistor from the input side, there is a resistance which is called input resistance Ri. When we look at the transistor from the output side, there is a resistance, and that resistance is called Ro. Let's say Ri is equal to 20 ohm and Ro is equal to 100 kilo ohm. And this load resistance RL, let's say it is 5 kilo ohm. Also, the input is of 200 millivolt. So this is our circuit. Okay. Now, because of this supply, a current flows into this circuit, which can be called input current II. What will be the value of II? II will be equal to, this is V in, is 200 millivolt, V in divided by Ri. That is 200 millivolt divided by 20 ohms, that is 10 milliampere. So II is 10 milliampere. If you look at the circuit, we can see that II is nothing but IE. So IE is same as II. We'll make one assumption, and that assumption is IB is equal to 0. So if IB is equal to 0, IC is approximately equal to IE, which is the same as II. So IC will be 10 milliampere. So if we look at the output circuit, this current IC flows here, which is 10 milliampere. So what will be V out? V out will be equal to 10 milliampere into 5 kilo ohm, and that will be equal to 50 volts. So 200 millivolt in the input became 50 volt at the output. What we have done is, we have transferred this current II from a low resistance path to a high resistance path, and all the while the current remains almost the same. So we got amplification in voltage, and we can find out the gain of this amplifier, voltage gain AV, which is equal to V out divided by V in, which is 50 divided by 200 millivolt, and that is equal to 250. So we got an amplification of 250 times. This is the amplifying action of a transistor. So in this case, we have not considered DC because we are only analyzing the AC part. The main function of DC voltages will be to put the transistor on a particular point of interest. We'll discuss that later. Thus, on the characteristic, the transistor should be at a particular point in voltage and current. We'll see that later in biasing. So this is the transistor amplifying action. So next is common emitter configuration. So we have our BJT here, the PNP type BJT. is the collector, base and emitter. Now emitter is common to both input and output. Okay, we are giving the supply here. Since this is PNP, we need to give the forward bias at emitter base junction and reverse bias at collector base junction. For active region, that you know. So this is called VBB and this is called VCC. Okay, now we know that this emitter base junction is forward biased, so a current will flow through emitter base junction, and here it is called IE, and there will be some base current, that will be IB, and the most part of IE will be flowing through the collector, that is IC. What is the relation between IB, IC and IE? All these things we have seen in common base configuration. So we know that IE is equal to IB plus IC, right? Emitter base junction is forward biased, collector base junction is reverse biased. So most of the holes coming from emitter will go through the collector base junction. So IC and IE are almost the same. But the catch here is that emitter is now the common point. So what is the input current? Input current is now IB and input voltage is now VBE, the voltage drop across base emitter junction. Output current is IC and output voltage is now between collector and emitter, and that is called VCE. So now we can draw the characteristics. The input characteristics, call it input cara, is between IB and VBE. And what remains constant? VCE will remain a constant. So it is between IB, which is in microampere range, and VBE, which is in volt range. And how will the characteristic looks? Because this is between emitter and base, so that will be like a diode. So for one value of VCE, it looks like this. So let's say this is VC equal to 0 volt. Okay. Now if we increase VCE, what happens? If we increase VCE, what happens is IB reduces. So this is for VCE2, which is greater than VCE1. So if we increase VCE, what happens? IB decreases. And what is the reason? If we are increasing VCE, that means collector base junction is more and more reverse biased, and if collector base junction is more and more reverse biased, IB decreases because of early effect. So if we further increase VCE, IB decreases further, and this is IB for VCE3, where VCE3 is greater than VCE2, which is greater than VCE1. So this is the input characteristics. Now we can also draw the output characteristics. Output cara, it is between output current and output voltage for constant input current, right? So output characteristics is between IC and VCE for constant IB. So this characteristics looks like this. This is for IB equal to 0 microampere. Here the issue is, in the previous case, that is common base configuration, we had seen that when input current, which is emitter current, was equal to 0 milliampere, collector current was also 0. That is because emitter and collector currents are almost the same. But here we are holding IB constant at 0 microampere. So that does not mean IC doesn't flow. If IB is equal to 0 microampere, there is still minority charge carriers in collector and base. So because of that, there will be a collector current. So in this case, identifying cutoff region is somewhat difficult compared to the common base configuration. Then then when we increase IB, the characteristics will look like this. So this is for IB1, IB2, IB3, IB4, where IB4 is the highest current, IB3, IB2 and IB1. Okay, so this is the output characteristics for common emitter configuration. This sudden increase in current corresponds to saturation region, and this where IC is almost a constant, but it is increasing because of early effect. So this corresponds to active region, and this area where IB is equal to 0 microampere, this corresponds to cutoff region. Now the voltage at which these characteristics move from saturation to active region, that can be called as VCE sat, saturation voltage. Now we can arrive at a relation between input current IB and output current IC. We know that IC is equal to alpha IE plus ICO. Now this can be written as IC equal to alpha into IE, can be written as IB plus IC plus ICO. There is alpha IC here. Alpha goes inside the bracket, so it becomes alpha IB plus alpha IC. So there is an alpha IC here. That alpha IC can be taken to the left hand side. So it becomes IC minus alpha IC is equal to alpha IB plus ICO. Now this can IC can be taken outside, so this becomes 1 minus alpha into IC equal to alpha IB plus ICO. So IC will be equal to alpha by 1 minus alpha into IB plus ICO divided by 1 minus alpha. Now this can be written as IC is equal to beta IB plus ICEO, where beta is equal to alpha by 1 minus alpha and ICEO is equal to ICO divided by 1 minus alpha. Now beta is called the current gain in common emitter configuration, and ICEO is the collector current when base current is equal to 0. Now we know that ICEO will have a very low value, so we can approximate IC as equal to beta IB. In this case, beta will be equal to IC divided by IB. This is the current gain in common emitter configuration. So we know that the relationship between beta and alpha is beta is equal to alpha divided by 1 minus alpha. So we can arrive at an expression for alpha in terms of beta as alpha equal to 1 plus beta divided by beta. Okay. So this is the current relationship in common emitter configuration and the characteristics of common emitter configuration. Again, this is the DC value of beta, beta DC. Using these relationships, we can write IC as beta IB plus 1 plus beta into ICO as well. Or CO is the leakage current. So IC can also be written as beta IB plus 1 plus beta into ICO. Okay, and this beta is in case of DC, which is IC by IB. For AC analysis, beta AC will be equal to delta IC divided by delta IB. Now we have to find out the region of operation of a transistor in common emitter configuration in accordance with the circuit elements. How the DC supplies and connected resistors will affect the region of operation of a common emitter configured transistor. So there are two methods to find out this. I will explain the first method now, and after that we'll go for the second method. So before we go there, we know that IC is equal to beta IB plus beta plus 1 ICO, but this condition is valid only in active region. In cutoff region, we know that IB is equal to 0. So IC becomes beta plus 1 ICO. Okay. In active region, VCE will be greater than VCE SAT, and IC will approximately be equal to beta IB. This is the conditions for active region. We have seen VCE SAT. VCE SAT is the voltage that separates saturation region and active region. So third case is in saturation region, VCE will be equal to VCE SAT, VBE will be equal to VBE SAT, and the value of IB must be greater than IB minimum, where IB minimum is given by I saturation current IC SAT divided by beta. So these are the conditions to be checked if we want to find out the region of operation. Okay. Now this VCE SAT and VBE SAT values for silicon and germanium are already found out. So for silicon, VCE SAT is going to be 0.2 and VBE SAT is going to be 0.8, and for germanium, this VCE SAT will be going to be 0.1 and VBE SAT is going to be 0.3 volts. Okay. Also, for active region, VBE active is defined. For silicon, VBE active is 0.7 volt, and for germanium, this VBE active is 0.2 volt. Now we can see the methods which are used to find out the region of operation. In the first method, we will be assuming that the transistor is in active region. Okay. So what will be the value of VBE? VBE becomes VBE active. So we have already seen the VBE active values for silicon and germanium transistors. So this is the first step. Then next step is find out IB. For this VBE, find out IB. After obtaining IB, we can find out IC. IC is given as beta IB plus 1 plus beta into ICO. After finding out IC, the next step is find out VCE. Okay, after finding out VCE, we can check that if VCE is greater than VCE SAT. If that is the case, then transistor is in active region. Otherwise, transistor is in saturation region. If VCE is less than VCE SAT, transistor is in saturation region. So, since we have assumed that the transistor is in active region, this will be the case. Now, the second method is assume that the transistor is in saturation region. So, first step is we know VB is SAT, we also know VC is SAT for different semiconductors. Now, in the third step, find out IB and IC SAT, and you should find them out independently. So, find out IB and IC SAT independently, then find out IB min. IB min is given as IC SAT divided by beta. In the fourth step, we will check whether IB is less than or greater than IB min. So, if IB is greater than IB min, that means our transistor is in saturation. If IB is less than IB min, that means the transistor is in cutoff region. We have seen these cases, right? So, using this, we can find out the region of operation of transistors. If IB is less than IB min, that means the transistor is in active region. Okay. So, by using this, we can find out the region of operation of transistors in common emitter configuration. We will do the problems in the next lecture, and today we will move on to the next topic. The last configuration is common collector configuration. In this configuration, collector is common to both input and output. This is our emitter, base, and collector of a PNP transistor. Now, this is the supply. This is VBB and this is VEE. Now, you know that emitter current flows here, which is IE, collector base current flows here, which is IB, and collector current flows here, which is, and collector current flows here, which is IC. You know, now you are in a position to identify how these currents flow. Okay. So this common collector configuration, it is used primarily for impedance matching purposes because it has a high input impedance and a low output impedance. The circuit used for this operation, that is impedance matching, it will look like this. Collector, base and emitter, and this is a resistance R. Now I have already told you that by the look of the circuit it looks like this is common emitter, but always check which terminal is close to the reference point. That will give you the configuration. That is, in this case, collector is close to the reference point, so this is a common collector configuration. So if we want to design a circuit using this, there is no need to go for a separate common collector characteristics to design this. We can design the circuit for impedance matching using the common emitter characteristics of this particular transistor. So because of that, we don't need to go into a common collector characteristics. We can always do a common emitter character. We can always do this design by looking at the common emitter characteristics. So with that, I'm winding up today's lecture. We'll see in the next lecture with a few more problems, and we will also see what biasing is. Until then, bye.